tidy bookshelf and I have a very messy one.
Okay, I think we are already on. A very good evening to the online audience as well as the offline one right in front of me. Um, I think it's a very interesting thing that we are following up Tintin adventures about what makes kids read with the Oxford Bookstore Book Cover Prize, because I think a lot of what teens pick up also are based on what they see, and that's what book covers do. This is a very close to heart project for us, and every year we have these beautiful book covers coming to us. More about it we'll get to know from my colleague, Neeta Sridharan, who will be moderating this session. And online we have the jury members with us, and today we will be announcing the long list for Oxford Bookstore Book Cover Prize 2020-21. May I please call Neeta on stage? And she would be introducing the panel as well. So on to her.
Thank you, everyone. May we also have the presentation for the Oxford Bookstore Book Cover Prize. Good evening, everyone. In Calcutta with the Oxford Bookstore Book Cover Prize Longlist announcement. This is our 6th year. We started this year's nomination process in November, and we were really delighted to receive more than 132 nominations from publishers across the country. So Oxford Bookstore Book Cover Prize appreciates the balance of graphic and narrative, particularly in our increasingly visual age. It believes that a book cover interprets and decodes the ensuing text in crucial ways that contributes to its ultimate success. The Oxford Bookstore Book Cover Prize is a first of its kind award for brilliance in book cover design by the iconic Oxford bookstores to recognize and encourage the extraordinary work of illustrators, designers, and publishers across India. The jury on the prize this year is Dr. Shashi Tharoor, Shobha De, festival director and publisher Namita Gokhale, and director APJ Surendra Group, and the creative force behind Oxford Bookstores, Ms. Preeti Paul. We also have on board our jury member this year from Calcutta, author Kunal Basu. Joining us today when we announce the prize, we have Namita Gokhale, Ms. Preeti Paul, and Kunal Basu will be announcing the long list. Before we head on and announce the long list titles today, may I ask Namita Gokhale, who joins us from New Delhi, to talk about the nominations received this year.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, yes.
Dear friends, it's a joyous occasion to be here once again online this time to announce the 6th edition of the Oxford Bookstore Book Cover Prize. Quite a mouthful. And our shortlist of 18 entries was, as Neeta said, picked by a wonderful jury from 132 nominations and 61 publishers and solo entries. So it's really based on a grassroots connection with publishers across India. The pandemic has brought the digital world even closer, and we are presenting this virtually. And indeed, the book itself and book covers are making the leap into hybrid space, and ebooks and audiobooks are carving their identity. So the aesthetics of the book, its font design, its shape and size, as graphics and the cover image that represents them, all these things are more important than ever before. And I must mention here that my co-juror, Kunal Basu, and I have had the honor of having one of our books each, my book Himalaya, his book Kolkata, nominated for the cover prize. So we feel that special authorial connection with this prize. Now, the book cover is really an emblem of the narrative within. Over my long association with this wonderful prize, my association since its very inception really, I've observed cover design in India develop in every direction, in every language of publication. It's always a learning process to study how these covers are evolving, becoming more sophisticated, more articulate, more joyous. Our entries this year were the best so far, I think. So here's to a celebration of books and book covers and book design. Thank you, Oxford Bookstore, and especially Neeta Sridharan, who guides this prize with so much passion and dedication and hard work. And of course, the greatest thank you to Preeti Paul for your belief in books, for instituting for a prize, and for being in the jury to give your keen observations every year. And thank you, Shashi Tharoor, Shobha De, and Kunal Basu for sharing your astute vision of what a cover should be. I know all of you out there in the audience will enjoy and admire these book covers that speak so eloquently. And that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Namita ma'am. Over to Ms. Paul for her views on entries received this year and being on jury for the last 6 years?
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for to the audience, and to the people online. I'm very excited to be part of this hybrid session, first of a kind, and it perhaps bodes well for the future of books, events, publishing. So I would like to just, paddle back and talk a little bit about why the prize was instituted. And I must say, I have to give credit for the foresight and vision of our jury member, Namita Gokhale, who's the director of the Jaipur Lit Fest, a book author, passionate about books, writing, literature, promoting reading. We were brainstorming and trying to think about what part of the publishing industry needed some more love and support, and sort of help. And she was absolutely convinced that the designers, the graphists, the illustrators, the art directors who worked so hard to create a book cover, and actually possibly earned very little money, but were in it for the love of the craft and the art. So she is the one who actually illuminated the way and said we should absolutely institute a prize for the best book cover. And this is where we are now, 6th year, a very wide range of entries, people really enjoying participating, attending the sessions, putting in their entries. So this is a journey that started through Namita's conviction, and she's led the way and she's held the hand of this prize along its journey. So her observations hold true in terms of where we are. Now I would like to flip and talk about it maybe from a person who's won the prize. And one of the things that I, noticed along the journey. So I was in one of these events in Calcutta, which is where I come from as well. And I was on the sidelines, waiting to go up on stage. And I was talking with the gentleman who had won the prize that year. And I was humbled and astounded to find out that he had, as a designer, had 500 published book covers. And he was super excited about winning this prize. And I kept looking at him and saying that, why would you even care? You already won 500, you have 500 published book covers. What could this mean to you? And he said something which for me then really made the penny drop. He said that winning this prize means a lot to me because finally, for the first time in my life, after winning this prize, I'm able to choose the work that I do, and I feel recognized for what I do. And that really made me, actually, it was very humbling to be able to meet a person like that who was already obviously very accomplished. And I would like to say, now seeing Kunal on it, it was the gentleman who won the prize having designed your book cover. And I think also that was also a testimony to the very strong relationship that Kunal had established with his book cover designer, which was Pinaki Day at that point. And I think working on it together, I realized that, maybe the strongest covers come when there's a communication, but also I've heard writers say that once they finish writing, they want, not to be part of it. So that's an interesting conversation that I think, we should talk a little bit more about, as the years go along. So that's my observation there. We're delighted as Oxford Bookstore, that's my third cap, to support this prize. I hope, over the years, we are able to tweak it and to grow it in response to the industry. We're aware, of course, that there's a whole nother area of children's book covers that also deserve to be recognized. And I'm delighted to have wonderful people on our jury, the support of the community, and of course our wonderful audience at the Currency Building who's there live in person in this beautiful restored building that we have the chance to hold our festival in. So that's my perspective. And I guess it's over to Neeta again. Thank you.
So, Kunalda, your views on being on the jury this year, and one of your books, Calcutta, won the prize in 2016, I think, yeah.
Well, thank you, a very big thank you to Oxford Bookstore. How wonderful to be a part of the jury of a prize that I've admired and looked forward to every year. You know, I'm a failed artist. And as a failed artist, I'm fiendish about book covers. I'm not one of those Preeti authors who write a novel and then pass it off to their editors and then wait to see the book arrive in a finished form in a bookshop. I make my editors climb up the wall, which is perhaps not such a good thing. So I spent a long time, chatting with the person who's designing my book jackets. Worked quite a bit, as you said, with Pinaki De in India and with many other designers and book cover artists in other parts of the world for my other editions. Okay, what is it that I look for? In my view, a book cover is an artistic expression. It is not simply the work of a designer who sort of looked at the material in the book, if it's a novel or a short story, if it's a piece of nonfiction, understood the theme of the book, and essentially designed something that illustrates the theme or reflects the theme. A plain act of translation, it is not. Okay. So for me, the book cover really is an artistic inspiration, an artistic work which draws inspiration from what is in the book, but then blends with the imagination of the designer, who I would rather call cover artists rather than cover designers. Okay. And this year, very, very privileged to be a part of this jury. I've looked at, as you said, Neeta, 132 of them. Okay. And I've looked at 132 of them and I said, look, what an amazing display of imagination, which for me, I think is the redeeming part, is the most powerful part of this award, is it invites people, visual artists, to project their imagination on a cover and actually bring home the idea, the notion that really the two forms of creativity, the written word and the audiovisual creation, are really very similar and synergistic and complement each other. Wonderful experience. It has been a difficult job to pick out the long list, but I would rather take this kind of difficulty than any other difficulty, because it combines my passion of books with that of the visual arts, of the arts. Okay. So thank you once again, Oxford Bookstore. Thank you, Namita. Thank you, everybody involved, for thinking of me and having me on this jury, which gives me an opportunity to see the talent on view. Thank you.
Thank you, Kunalda. And before we go and announce the long list, for which a lot of our friends across the country, publishers have been messaging us, asking us on Facebook, asking us for the links and for YouTube links to the announcement, we have a message from our very passionate jury member, Dr. Shashi Tharoor, who could not be here today for reasons. He had to attend some meetings. But we have a very beautiful message from him, which we would like to stream here. Can we have Dr. Shashi Tharoor's message, please?
Hello, I'm Shashi Tharoor. Namaskar to you, and I'm delighted to serve as the chairman of the jury for the Oxford Bookstore Book Cover Prize for a second year in a row. I enjoyed the experience last year. We ended up announcing the winners at the Jaipur Literary Festival, and I must say it's an overdue initiative to show some recognition and show some appreciation for the extraordinary creative and design talents of our extraordinary publishing industry. There are people with both the skill of an artist, the imagination of a designer, and at the same time the production quality of a high-class product who've come in. When the Oxford Bookstore sent me the fat catalogue of entries to be considered before establishing the long list that will be announced today, I was absolutely riveted by the quality of the covers on offer and by the range and high quality of talent that we have visible amongst the covers on display. Each of the jury members came up with their own selections and they've been put together to establish today's long list. As I say these words to you, I don't know what the final long list is going to be, but I do want to say, for those of us who are on it, those of you who are on it, congratulations from all of us. I believe your work is certainly fit to hold its own with the best in the world. And for many who didn't make it, let me just the covers on display. Each of the jury members came up with their own selections and they've been put together to establish today's long list. As I say these words to you, I don't know what the final long list is going to be, but I do want to say, for those of us who are on it, those of you who are on it, congratulations from all of us. I believe your work is certainly fit to hold its own with the best in the world. And for many who didn't make it, let me just say, you might have made it with a different jury. All judges are subjective, and the quality was so high that it would not have been easy for all minds to agree equally on what the best covers were. So once again, congratulations to all who entered. There wasn't a bad cover amongst them. And even bigger congratulations to those who've made the Oxford Bookstore Book Cover Prize long list, which will be announced today. Thank you very much for the pleasure of serving on the jury of this remarkable prize. Jai Hind.
So the 6th edition long list announcement for the Oxford Bookstore Book Cover Prize, we would like to start with Ms. Preeti Paul. Ms. Paul, we'd like you to announce the first 6 titles on the list of 18.
So just for clarity, shall I announce the book name and the designer and the author and the publisher? All four for each of them?
Yeah, so the book cover's name, the author's name, and the designer's name, and the publisher's name.
Okay, so here goes. For the book, Sarojini's Mother, the designer's name is Pinaki Day, the author's name is Kunal Basu, and the publisher is Solo. That's number 1. Number 2, book name Magical Women, illustrated by Asma Kazi, cover design by Bhavi, author's name Sukanya Venkathavan, and the publisher Hatchet India in the adult and business category. Number 3, the book's name is Girl in White Cotton. The designer's name is Samantha Batra Mehta. The author's name, Avni Doshi, and published by Fourth Estate. Book number 4, Women of Prey. The designer's name, Jesreel Sara Nathan. The author's name, Sadat Hassan Manto, translated by Saba, and the publisher is Speaking Tiger. Book number 5, Calcutta Nights. Designer's name, Pinaki Day. Author's name, Hemendra Kumar Roy, and the publisher's name is Paper Missile. Book number 6, The Courtesan, the Mahatma, and the Italian Brahmin. Interesting. The designer's name, Priya Kurian. The author's name, Manu S. Pillai, and the publisher is Context. So that's the 6 from me. Very interesting to see a wide range of authors and publishers and designers. Over to you, Neeta.
Kunal sir, I'd like you to announce the next 6 covers.
Right. Thank you. Small clarification. The publisher of Sarojini's Mother is Penguin, not Solo.
Yeah, but we received it as a solo entry.
Okay, the publisher was Penguin.
Yeah.
So here goes the 6. One Hell of a Lover. The designer is Elvin Charlie. The author is Unni R. and the publisher is Eka. The second is the CEO Factory. The designer is Bonita Vaz Shimre. The author is Sudhir Sitapat. And the publisher is Juggernaut. The next book is Gun Island. The designer is Gunjan Ahlawat. The author is Amitav Ghosh, and the publisher is Hamish. Again, the author is Paro Anand, and the publisher is HarperCollins Children's Books. The next one, the name of the book is Two Plays. The designer is Akanksha Sarma. The author is Chandrasekhar Kambar, and the publisher is Penguin Random House, India. The last in my list is Suralakshmi Villa. The designer is Paramita Brahmachari. The author's name is Aruna Chakravarti, and the publisher is Picador.
Namita ma'am, over to you for the last 6 titles.
Well, before I read out the titles, I'd just like to make it clear to the audience that these picks that we are reading out are not our individual picks, Preeti's or mine or Kunal's. These are the accumulated list of all the jury. There are many books which I deeply admire on both the previous lists, and the ones on my list are wonderful too. First one on my list, 13th in the general list, not in order of any priority, is a book I really enjoyed reading, which is The Camel Merchant of Philadelphia. And the designer's name is Haitanlo Semi, and the author's name is Sarbapreet Singh, and the publishers are Tranquebar. The next title of the nominated books is Afsane, and this is Chinmaya Chauhan, who has been designing it, and the author's name is Ameya Bondre. And this again is a solo entry, which means that the designer has submitted it directly. Dastan-e-Mughal-e-Azam is being designed by Aquarius, written by Rajkumar Keswani, and published by Manjul Publishing House. Then there is Moom, again by Pinaki Dey, ever prolific, always getting attention for his lovely covers. Bani Basu is the author's name, and the publisher is B Books. And the next one is White as Milk and Rice, which has been designed by Akanksha Sarma. And the author is Nidhi Dugar Kundalia. The publisher is Ebury Press. And the Atlas of Sindh, a narrative history of a remarkable community by Veda Agarwal, who is the designer. The author is Saz Agarwal. And the publishers are Black and White Fountain. So that takes us, it's a wrap, all the lovely books. If I could say a few words as I wrap it up, I want to say that I hope you will someday read these wonderful books, because I'm an author, and that you engage with their utterly beautiful covers, each a work of art in itself. I love what Kunal said, they are cover artists, and reflect on the artist and designer who crafted these brilliant images and graphics for all of us to understand and appreciate the art of the cover. Thank you to the Oxford Cover Prize.
Can I just say something which I forgot to say earlier? You know, in India, we have a unique industry because the book cover does matter. I'm going to talk from the point of view of book selling. So Oxford Bookstore has been in the business of book selling for 100 years actually this year. And normally we want to kick this off as a big year for book selling. And in fact, the pandemic has helped book sales. But one of the things that's really important for someone to decide whether to buy a book in India is the strength of the cover design. And it matters a lot. Like, for example, in Delhi, we would say 30 to 40%, decision about whether to buy, plus on whether to buy a book is based on the design cover. Maybe in Calcutta, less so, but the book cover has the power to move the sales of books. So it's not just, it's an artistic, it's a creative, it's probably a collaborative process for someone like Kunal. I'm not sure Namita as an author to what extent she's involved or where she backs off. I'm just trying to tie up. But from a book selling point of view, in India, the book has the power to shift the book off the shelf. So it does matter. It does matter. It does matter to the author. It matters as an artist, and it matters for the sales of books. So that's just my 2 bits about the fact that it does matter. And we've seen that hundreds of times when a customer walks into the store and just is trying to decide between 2 books, or whether to try an author, or whether, not to buy a book. And so you have that power as a graphic designer, as a cover artist, to actually convince the book lover, or the client, or the person who walks into the store to actually get what the author is trying to say into the hands of the reader. So use that power.
Thank you, Ms. Paul. Congratulations to all designers, publishers, and authors whose titles have made it to the long list today. We go on to announcing the shortlist in February, and the winner at the Jaipur Literature Festivals, Jaipur Bookmark, in the end of February. Positively, that's what we're aiming at. And so thank you everyone for joining in today, and we hope you enjoyed the beautiful covers, and we look forward to seeing you in the shortlist announcement. Thank you.